بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال الملك ائتوني به فلما جاءه الرسول قال ارجع إلى ربك فاسأله ما بال النسوة اللاتي قطعن أيديهن إن ربي بكيدهن عليم. So the story of Yusuf alayhi salam was up to the point where he gave all the explanation of the dream that the king had and also advised him how to tackle with the problem they're going to see in the next 7 years, after 7 years. So when king found out that this man has been very beneficial and is quite intelligent and knowledgeable person and very kind, so let's just try find out who he is. So he said, the king said, bring him to me. Bring him to me. But when the messenger came to him, Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, return to your master and ask him what is the case, what is the matter with the women who cut their hands. Indeed, my Lord is knowing of their plan. I mean, why was I sent to prison in the first place? Have you actually looked into it? So again, we could see he was in the prison and he wanted to come out. Yet, that is why he asked one of those two men who he gave the prisoners, but not without a clarity on what's going on. And he wanted to see what is the outcome of that. Otherwise, there will be a lot of issues. And what are those issues? We look at that in a second. And then also look at how he worded it. Now, he knew the main culprit was Zaliha, the wife of Aziz. Yet, he did not mention her name. Rather, he said about the women. Find out what the problem is, rather than saying that, oh, ask Zaliha. So that is nicest behavior. Why that was? Because this lady has looked after Yusuf alayhi salam from young age. Despite her mistakes and all the problems that she caused in the Yusuf alayhi salam, she also had a big, time favors done to Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. And likewise, she's wife of someone who Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam would take as father figure, Aziz. He obviously was completely devastated. So he didn't want him to cause more trouble by finding out what exactly happened and making it public. So he knew it, but don't want it to be a public discussion. So he thought that I owe them respect. And this was a fantastic, kind character of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, whereby despite being in trouble for many years with this lady, he did not went back to just, the retaliation or taking revenge and, tit for tat. No, rather he showed his utmost composure and honor. There's a hadith in Sahih Bukhari on this issue and also in Tirmidhi, whereby Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, as reported by Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if I had been in a prison for so long as Yusuf alayhi salam had been, and had I then been summoned for release, I would have accepted it immediately. Now it poses few questions. This hadith poses few issues. Number one, this goes for the another narration, the similar narration, but with more detailed one in Imam Tabari's tafsir. So the hadith goes like this: the patience, forbearance, and many other noble traits of his character are astonishing of Yusuf alayhi salam. When he was asked to give an interpretation of the dream of the king, while still being in prison, had I been in his place, I would have, before giving the interpretation, placed a condition that I should be taken out of the prison before I could give an interpretation of that dream. Again, when the emissary of the king brought in the message of his release, had I been in his place, I would have immediately started walking towards the gate of the prison. Now, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is glorifying Yusuf alayhi salam by saying that he has done these sort of kind acts but that was him being very patient. Obviously, we know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the best of all the creation, including all the prophets. But that is as a whole. There could be one or 2 points where someone may exceed him from among the best of the prophets. So there is a possibility that some other prophets might be in certain conduct and certain part of their life, in certain aspect, a little bit over and have excelled. And we're talking about 100 plus percentages. So in that percentile, then this is not in any way a statement to say that they were overall better. So it's like one particular aspect as opposed to, so that's one way of looking at things. But more than that, and that is more of an important consideration, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam actually has got a whole nation, whole ummah that needs to follow the footsteps of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam until the end of time. He's the only prophet who was sent to whole humanity up to the end of time. So he has to leave a balanced, moderate, and more practical solution for people in any situation they would encounter. So had Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam not mentioned something of that sort, we would have taken that to mean that every time when we are in a difficult situation like this, rather than going for the obvious one, easy, simpler option, we should all step back, think about it, and go into in a slow fashion and not taking this opportunity. Why? Because not everyone has that much patience. Not every individual, in fact, most people would not have that much patience to wait further long. Now, and it doesn't stop there. They are risking by doing that procrastination. I shouldn't say procrastination, but when you put a condition, the first find out what the situation was with those girls, with those ladies who cut their hands. Putting that condition may mean that the king got his mind changed. He said, okay, we'll do it. We'll delve into that at some other point. I'm very busy at the moment. There's some issues happening in the court and something happening in my kingdom. So I would rather sort all those out. And I'm on this expedition. I'll be back in 6 months time, and then we'll look into that again. And he might have forgotten. He might have just ignored it completely. So their temperament, their schedule, their lifestyle is completely different. And so taking a chance in that situation might not be the most wise thing. And it would be okay for the likes of Abu Bakr and Umar, Usman and Ali, Talha and Zubair, but not for common people, not for many other simple people like ourselves. We will be in big trouble if we kept those conditions, because we do not know what the outcome would have been. And I've seen it in our lives where people would come up with said, I would not, for example, some brothers I know, they say, I would not marry until my sister gets married. And then what happened? The sister is in her 40s and he's even older, and she didn't get married. So then he was saying it for many, many years, for 15 years. And then it became sort of everyone knew that he hasn't done it because he wanted his sister, which is a good thing. Yet he had to pay the price. Finally, sister never got married, and he had no choice but to then, at the age of 50, get married. Now he then have a very, very small kid. So he's now in his 70s, and his children are literally about 10, 15, and close to 18, 19. And he's in 70s, and he's very concerned about them. If I die now, we trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but there's too much, isn't it? So, and another friend student, you can say, he did the same thing. And we were advising him to don't worry about that. And you know what? He waited for quite a few years, and finally he gave up, and the sister made the same comment, please don't worry about it. Allah will make it easy whenever. And he got married, and from that in-laws, that extended family, he found someone who then married the sisters. I said, actually, you were the reason for delaying your sister's wedding, because you put a condition there And that was a wrong condition. So you shouldn't be putting a condition like a condition that you cannot bear. It's difficult. It's not easy to take, big chances like that. So that is why Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made it easy for this ummah to understand. Now Allah says, قَالَ مَا خَطْبُكُنَّ إِذْ رَاوَدتُّنَّ يُوسُفَ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ قُلْنَا حَاشَ لِلَّهِ مَا عَلِمْنَا عَلَيْهِ مِنْ سُوءٍ قالت امرأة العزيز الآن حسحس الحق أنا راودته عن نفسه وإنه لمن الصادقين. Then King said to the woman, he summoned them, mashallah, he got them all gathered immediately. He said, what was your condition when you sought to seduce Yusuf alayhi salam? They said, Allah is perfect. We know about him no evil. He is a nice, kind man. They just testify that he was the best character. The wife of Al-Aziz then said, now the truth has become evident. It is open now. It's no secret anymore. It was I who sought to seduce him. And indeed, he is of the truthful. When Zaliha saw that even all the other women have accepted it, he then had no choice but to say, you know what, this man has been tortured for my sake without committing anything wrong. I have to be honest. And then she realized, and then she took that responsibility and made a clear mention of that. Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, according to some Mufassirun, he actually understood the intent of the king. He knew that the king has sent for me only to get a better support from me, because I will be able to help him and so he knew that there will be a lot of consideration for giving me a job of some sort, honor of some sort, or he, through his wisdom, understood it. And that is why he wanted to make sure that everybody in the kingdom is clear about my position. Otherwise, in the initial stages, after I come out and I've been honored, a king would tell the reason behind the honor. People will forget about what happened in the past, but only for some time. It is only going to be a matter of time when they would start talking about, yeah, but why did he go to, oh yeah, you know what, he had done that. He was a bad man. He did all of a sudden, just by doing one interpretation. So what would happen, in order to carry out all his da'wah work as a prophet and guide for whole nation, he would not be able to do anything, because he has got something as a baggage, as a bad, experience that people would have in their mind without having clarity. So he needed to get his name completely, cleared of any slander, any mistake, any blemish. So he wanted to come out, but he wanted people to just realize that and not feel that they have actually been working with someone and they've done a favor to him, and yet he was a corrupt man. And then he said, ذَلِكَ لِيَعْلَمُ أَنِّي لَمْ أَخُنْهُ بِالْغَيْبِ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي كَيْدَ الْخَائِنِينَ. He said that I'm not doing it so as to, cause trouble for others. I only wanted to do this to clear the name, my name, and there's a wisdom behind it, but also so that there was another reason, that the Aziz who looked after me, who freed me, who take me as a son and looked after me for my life, and I've matured and then got all that loving and caring environment in his household. So that's through him. I don't want him to ever feel that I caused trouble, I betrayed his trust, I, in his absence, tried to do something haram and wrong to his family. So he delayed, but he wanted to make sure that I have in no way have even thought about that, because it would have been terrible for Aziz, because he would continue to have that doubt. Can I trust him? Can I not trust him? How is he good? How loyal he is? How loyal he is? So that's extremely, extremely important. And that is the way we should always pay back to the people who are doing favors to us, rather than doing, I don't care. Oh, to hell with it. That's their problem. I never made a mistake. If they did it, let them be. No, we can't be oblivious. We can't be, non-emotional about this. We must have the emotion of the person going through all that trouble. And also, there will be a lesson to that. If you try to cause trouble, you have to pay the price. One day you will be reaping what you have sowed. Okay, as I said, people would not respect him for long. Even if they don't say it, they would not have full loyalty for Yusuf alayhi salam as their Amir, as their leader. And Yusuf alayhi salam knew it. He wanted to clear it all. He said, okay, if you really want me to be responsible for any such thing, then I need to be coming with a nice, clear background history. My character was tarnished wrongly, must be cleared. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted it to be done in such a way that the people do not see this as a favor. Rather, now clearing the name of Yusuf alayhi salam and him giving a clear instruction as to how to save yourself from the drought in the next 7 years or so, he had upper hand now. He now is seen as someone who has done favor to the whole of the country. Rather, people around the country would come and benefit from their harvest afterwards, when there would be worldwide drought, as seen by the king in his dream and interpreted by Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. Now they see him as someone who has favored us. He is someone, we haven't done anything. In fact, we wronged him. We actually oppressed him as a nation, but he has done so much for us. Now he is in a position whereby he can guide them aright. He can give them the true message of Islam. Same is with us. Always try to be on the side where you could actually help the nation, not for your personal gains, but for the sake of making it easy for people to understand your message by trusting you better. And similarly, Imam Qurtubi, as he mentioned in his tafsir, he said, ulama should be like this, scholars, and likewise du'at, those who invite people to Islam. Everyone is a da'i. We should try our best to behave in such a way that our activities, our actions are conducive and supportive of our da'wah. They are making us more acceptable to people who we are inviting, inshallah ta'ala. So may Allah give us tawfiq to act upon the rulings of Sharia. And let's look at the hadith of Imam Nawawi's Arba'in. Let me